As per our tradition, we begin on time. Uh, our chief guest, Mr. P. Nagesh, who is the non-executive chairman of Shopper Stop, the sponsor of our activity center, Manoj Bhai Joshi and his father, Soni, and Arvind Bhai Soni's father, who is here. They are both directors of AB Jewels. Invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, good evening to all of you. And it gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to this inaugural session. It's nice to see people, after that 2-year COVID, we have started physical activities, and it's really nice to see people in person. Uh, and as a very old tradition, AMA, commits some activity center to any donation it gets, any sponsor given. So that's why we have a formal inauguration of a activity center. And similarly, like this one today, AMA has got 58 activity centers. There's a list on the foyer. So they are not different entities, they are virtually centers, but it's a recognition of a donor by a specific activity devoted to that. Just over a year ago, the promoters of AB Jewels approached AMA through a common friend, Mr. Sanjay Chakravarti, who is at the back. And they wanted to support a meaningful activity. And it was decided to start an activity center for professional skills. And they gave us an endowment of 30 lakhs. Thank you so much, AB Jewels family. This was contributed by the AB Charitable Foundation, which is a CSR arm of AB Jewels. And as you are aware, AB Jewels is one of the very old jewelry firms in Ahmedabad, and they moved to Shivaranjani, and they have one of the largest stores here, I think about 30,000 square feet, and they employ single store, 4 stories, and they employ more than 250 people. And it's a classic example of a family business, transforming into organized retail. The MOU was signed a year ago, I think precisely 30th March, but due to the COVID situation, the inauguration was pending, but at last, with God's grace, it's happening today. And however, the professional skills is one of the core areas of AMS training and allied activities. But with this center, it will be more focused on certain courses not covered earlier, which will help sectors like organized retail, then the service sector covering many areas of business. This includes specialized or customized training, and you can say panel discussions through experts, and evening talks by leading entrepreneurs or leaders like we have today. And on behalf of AMA, first of all, I express my gratitude to the AB Jewels Parivar, Arvind Bhai and Manoj Bhai, not only for their donation, but for the concern and the importance of professional skills for students as well as working professionals. So this is a cause. We are very fortunate to have with us a very appropriate person, our chief guest today, to inaugurate Mr. B. Nagesh, the non-executive chairman of Shopper Stop and founder chairman of TRAIN, which stands for Trust for Retailers and Retail Associates of India. And of course, we are all eager to listen to him. But in the meantime, for the benefit of all, I'll introduce Mr. B.S. Nagesh to you all. Mr. B.S. Nagesh, as I said, is the founder for the not-for-profit organization called TRAIN, that's Trust for Retailers and Retail Associates of India, and has a vision of empowering people in retail with a mission of upgrading the lives of people in retail, both at work and at home. And he's, as I mentioned before, non-executive chairman of Shopper Stop, one of India's oldest retail chain in fashion and lifestyle sector. He has been involved in Shopper Stop since its inception. He was the first employee. He was the GM that time and then became the CEO and the MD. And today, Shopper Stop is the leading department store chain in India with 87 stores across the country. And Mr. Nagesh has contributed significantly in ushering modern retailing in the country. He stepped out of the role of MD, Managing Director of Shopper Stop Limited, in 2009 on turning age of 50 to start TRAIN, what I mentioned, This is to fulfill his personal belief, which is part of our ancient wisdom, first 25 years of learning, then 25 years of earning, and then his remaining 25 years, I won't say remaining, 25 years of returning to society or giving back to society. As we, in our Indian wisdom also always say, one prastha ashram, so that's what is contributing back. So we are very grateful to you. It's very inspiring for so many people here today. He also founded the Retailers Association of India in 2004. He stepped out of the chairman's role in September 2020 after serving RAI for 16 years. Mr. Nagesh has been recognized as an iconic retailer and was inducted into the World Retail Hall of Fame in 2008 at the World Retail Congress 2008 conducted in Barcelona. With his induction in the World Retail Hall of Fame 2008, Mr. Nagesh is the first Asian retailer, not Indian, but Asian retailer to take a significant place alongside more than 100 stalwarts of the global retail industry. He has been, again, got so many other awards, but I'm not mentioning them because we'll be keen to listen to him. So, as I said, we are truly fortunate to have him. And one small observation, I was just talking to him in the boardroom, and many years ago, today, we have small ERPs for business, we have this thing. But way back, in the late 90s, there was no such thing. And his country took a great list, and I showed him an article of 2004 in Business Today, where they mentioned, 20 most wired companies in India. Wired means, having the IT enabled part. So they were there at that point of time. So you can imagine that kind of vision and even the risk they took in terms of financial risk, because these packages were very expensive. They had to pay airfare for the implementers to come here. Today we have got all homegrown ERP, but that was what his vision. That's why I just give this example. And finally, he is the recipient of the Helen Keller Award for being a role model in creating livelihood for persons with disability. That is what his trust is doing, and he'll be talking about that also. And he's also nominated as an Ashoka Fellow. So, we are truly honored to have him. And on behalf of AMA and all of you, I'd like to welcome him with a bouquet of flowers. I'll also welcome the director of AB Jewels, Manoj Bhai Soni, with a bouquet on behalf of all of you. And I'll also welcome Arvind Bhai, the founder of AB Jewels too. I'll come down as well. I think now I invite Manoj Bhai, to share his thoughts and something about the center. Manoj Bhai, please.
नमस्ते. નમસ્તે આદરણીય શ્રી BS નાગેશજી, પ્રેસિડેન્ટ શ્રી રાડિયાજી, આમંત્રિતો અને મિત્રો, AB જ્વેલ્સ વતી હું આપ સૌનું આ શુભ પ્રસંગે હાર્દિક સ્વાગત કરું છું. આપને AB જ્વેલ્સનો થોડો પરિચય આપતા, AB જ્વેલ્સની સ્થાપના 1950માં થઈ. ત્યારથી શ્રેષ્ઠતમ રીતે બારીક કારીગરીવાળા ઘરેણાને સંપૂર્ણ શુદ્ધતા, ગુણવત્તા આપવાનું લક્ષ્ય રાખેલ. 7 દાયકાથી અમે દરેક પ્રકારની પૂર્ણતા માટે સતત પ્રયત્નશીલ રહ્યા છીએ. ગુણવત્તા, વિકાસ અને શુદ્ધતા પ્રત્યેની અમારી નિષ્ઠાને કારણે અમને ગ્રાહકોના હૃદયમાં સ્થાન મળ્યું છે. આ વર્ષો દરમિયાન 3 પેઢીઓએ એબી જ્વેલ્સનો વિસ્તાર અને સંવર્ધન કર્યું. એબી જ્વેલ્સની એક પ્રતિકાત્મક છબી પણ બનાવી અને એમાં સૌએ પોતાનું મહત્તમ યોગદાન આપ્યું. ઝવેરાતના ક્ષેત્રની વાત કરીએ તો સર્વશ્રેષ્ઠ સુવિધાઓ સાથે અમદાવાદના હૃદય સમા વિસ્તારમાં અમે 4 માળનો અદ્યતન જ્વેલરી શોરૂમનું સર્જન કરી શક્યા. બ્રાન્ડ એબી જ્વેલ્સનો પાયો 70 વર્ષથી પણ વધુ વર્ષોથી સ્ટાફની મહેનત, સપ્લાયરોનો સહકાર અને ગ્રાહકોના વિશ્વાસથી સતત મજબૂત બનતો રહ્યો છે. પરંપરાગત કારીગરી, સર્વોત્તમ ગ્રાહક સેવા અને આધુનિક સાધનોની મજબૂત બુનિયાદ પર એબી જ્વેલ્સની ઇમારત ઊભી છે. એવું કહે છે ને, ગ્રોથ વિધાઉટ શેરિંગ ઇઝ નથિંગ. એટલે કે આપણી કમાણી ત્યારે જ સાર્થક થાય જ્યારે એ સૌ સાથે વહેંચવામાં આવે. એબી જ્વેલ્સમાં અમે હંમેશા આ વિચારધારામાં પૂરો વિશ્વાસ રાખ્યો છે. સમાજ હિત માટે સતત સમર્પિત બ્રાન્ડ તરીકે અમે એબી ચેરિટેબલ ફાઉન્ડેશનના નેજા હેઠળ સમગ્ર સમાજને ઉપયોગી થવા જુદી જુદી પ્રવૃત્તિઓથી પ્રયત્નશીલ રહ્યા છીએ. એબી ચેરિટેબલ ફાઉન્ડેશન સ્વાસ્થ્ય સંભાળ, અબોલ પશુઓની સંભાળ અને પર્યાવરણ જાગૃતિના કાર્યોમાં એના ક્ષેત્રોમાં અમે સક્રિય છીએ. એ ઉપરાંત ગુણવત્તાપૂર્ણ શિક્ષણ અને સ્કિલ ડેવલપમેન્ટ ક્ષેત્રે અમે વિશેષ પ્રયાસો કરી રહ્યા છીએ. અમે માનીએ છીએ કે નિરંતર શિક્ષણ અને સ્કિલ ડેવલપમેન્ટથી સમગ્ર સમાજનું ભાવિ બદલી શકાય છે. અમે એવા ઉદ્યોગમાં સક્રિય છીએ જેમાં સ્કિલ અને ક્રાફ્ટમેનશિપ સફળતાના મુખ્ય પાયા છે અને મુખ્ય આધાર પણ છે. દેશના વિકાસ માટે એબી જ્વેલ્સમાં અમે હંમેશા યુવાનોના સ્કિલ ડેવલપમેન્ટ માટે સતત પ્રયત્નશીલ રહ્યા છીએ. આથી સમગ્ર સમાજના હિતની દિશામાં આગળ વધવા માટે અમદાવાદ મેનેજમેન્ટ એસોસિએશન એટલે કે એએમએ સાથે સહયોગ એ સ્વાભાવિક પગલું હતું. વી રાઇઝ બાય લિફ્ટિંગ અધર્સ, એટલે કે આપણે અન્યોને આગળ લાવીને પોતે આગળ વધી શકીએ છીએ. હું હૃદયપૂર્વક માનું છું કે અમારા પરના ઈશ્વરના આશીર્વાદ કે જેથી એબી જ્વેલ્સ અને અમદાવાદ મેનેજમેન્ટ એસોસિએશન એટલે કે એએમએ જેવી વિખ્યાત મેનેજમેન્ટ સંસ્થા વચ્ચે આવો સુંદર સહકાર શક્ય બન્યો છે, જેનાથી એબી ચેરિટેબલ ફાઉન્ડેશનના નેજા હેઠળ એબી જ્વેલ્સ એએમએ સેન્ટર ફોર પ્રોફેશનલ સ્કિલ ડેવલપમેન્ટ રચાયું છે. એએમએ સાથેના આ સહયોગના ભાગરૂપે એબી જ્વેલ્સ એએમએ સેન્ટર ફોર પ્રોફેશનલ સ્કિલ ડેવલપમેન્ટ હેઠળ પ્રોફેશનલ સ્કિલ ડેવલપમેન્ટના હેતુઓ પાર પાડવા અમે સતત સહયોગ આપીશું. આ પહેલ માત્ર જ્વેલરી ઇન્ડસ્ટ્રી પૂરતી સીમિત નથી, પરંતુ દેશના તમામ પ્રકારના ઉદ્યોગો માટે છે. આ સેન્ટર સૌના ઉજ્જવળ ભાવિ અને આજીવિકાના સર્જન માટે લોકોની કુશળતા વિકસાવવા માંગે છે. હું શ્રી BS નાગેશજીનો ખાસ આભારી છું કે જેમણે આ પ્રસંગે ઉપસ્થિત રહી સેન્ટરનું ઉદ્ઘાટન કરવાના અમારા આમંત્રણને માન આપ્યું. હું આપ સૌ મહેમાનોનો પણ હૃદયપૂર્વક આભાર માનું છું અને મને ખાતરી છે આ સાર્થક સફરમાં આપનો હૂંફાળો સાથ સહકાર અને પ્રેરણા સતત અમને મળતા રહેશે. આભાર.
થેન્ક યુ મનોજભાઈ. આપણે સાથે પ્રયાસ કરશું કે આ એક્ટિવિટીઝ આ સેક્ટરના એમ્પ્લોઈઝ અને સ્ટુડન્ટ્સને પણ ખૂબ લાભદાયક થાય એનું આપણે ચોક્કસથી પ્લાનિંગ કરશું. નાવ આઈ ઇન્વાઇટ મનોજજી, નાગેશજી, અરવિંદભાઈ સાહેબ એન્ડ યોર સન, પ્લીઝ આપ ફોર લાઇટિંગ ઓફ ધ લેમ્પ, એટલે ફોર્મલ ઇનોગ્રેશન આપણી ટ્રેડિશન પ્રમાણે. It was nice to see three generations together to inaugurate this center. And of course, our chief guest, Mr. B.S. Nagesh. And now I invite our chief guest, Mr. B.S. Nagesh, to deliver his talk, which we've been waiting for. And a wonderful topic is chosen, Future of Skilling and Livelihood Creation. Mr. B.S. Nagesh, please. Thank you.
नमस्कार, कैन यू हियर मी ऑल ऑफ यू? या बहुत शांति है। दुकानों में हमको शांति पसंद नहीं होता। सबसे पहले तो AB Jewelers have actually done this wonderful work, and the fact that you are all part of it, I think we should need to clap for the jewelers and all of us together. We're all that lucky bunch of people who have survived the COVID, and we're actually standing here. Yeah, a lot of people, say, "Kaisa tha? Theek tha?" मैं बोला नहीं, ठीक नहीं, अच्छा था, बहुत अच्छा था, because we are some of those lucky who have survived. There are millions of people around the world who didn't survive. So that's what we are. Thank you very much, AMA, inviting me. Thank you very much, AB Jewels, for inviting me. The subject is about skilling and livelihood creation, but I need to set the context in which I would like to talk about this. I'm a retailer, दुकानदार हूँ, और आप सब हमारे लिए कस्टमर हो। या आज के दिन मैं AB ज्वेलर की तरफ से बात कर रहा हूँ। सो सर थोड़ा कोशिश करूंगा कि थोड़ी ज्वेलरी भी बेच दूं आपके साथ रह के। या सो I started working for Shop to Stop as the first employee. इसके पहले जिंदगी में मैंने कभी दुकान में काम नहीं किया था, दुकान में चलाता था। I used to run a chain of retail stores, 128 small stores called Corona in Karnataka, and सब छोटी-छोटी दुकानें थी, 500 स्क्वायर फीट की दुकानें थी। तो उस टाइम ये थक गया था मैं, ये 500 स्क्वायर फीट की। एक दिन ऐसी अपने बॉस के साथ में बैठा हुआ था, we were having a drink together. गुजरात में बोल सकते हैं ना ड्रिंक के बारे में, पियेंगे नहीं। हाँ, तो मैंने बॉस को, I told him कि बॉस अगर कोई इंडिया में कोई 50,000 स्क्वायर फीट का दुकान खोलेगा ना, मैं उस दुकान का मैनेजर बन जाऊंगा। ऐसे बात में हम लोग ऐसे ही करते ना, 10 लाख कमा रहे हैं तो बोलते हैं 1 करोड़ कमाएंगे, 1 करोड़ कमा रहे हैं तो बिलियन कमाएंगे। तो ऐसे मैंने बोल दिया। रहेजास के पास एक बिल्डिंग था अंधेरी में 50,000 स्क्वायर फीट का, और उन्होंने एक हेडहंटर को ये जॉब दिया कि हमको एक मैनेजर चाहिए। वो हेडहंटर मेरे बॉस का दोस्त था, तो उसने उसको बोला कि I have got an assignment for finding a manager who can run a 50,000 square feet shop. So I know my boss very well. So he said, "Yeah, I have a boy in South Bangalore." I was 31 years old, who wants to run a 50,000 square feet shop. So she called me and saying, 50,000 square feet shop hai, aap aoge? I took the next flight and went. I went and met the Rahejas. After about 10 minutes of conversation, they offered me a job. They asked me, क्या salary चाहिए? तो मेरा क्लासमेट था चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट। मैं बोला बॉम्बे आ रहा हूँ पहली बार, कभी आया नहीं जिंदगी में, क्या सैलरी मांगू? 10,000 मांग, फर्स्ट क्लास सैलरी होगा, एक कार मांग लेना, ड्राइवर मांग लेना, अपने बेटी के लिए स्कूल का एडमिशन मांग लेना। ओके। सो उन्होंने पूछा क्या? आई सेड 10,000, बेटी, गाड़ी, ड्राइवर, एंड ही सेड यस। तो मैं बाहर आया, मैं उसको फोन किया, यार इतनी जल्दी 10 बोल दिया, एटलीस्ट 20 बोला होता तो कुछ फायदा होता। सो आई मीन सम फर्स्ट लेसन्स ऑफ नेगोशिएशन। एनीहाउ, दैट्स हाउ आई जॉइंड शॉप टू स्टॉप। तो आज के दिन में अगर किसी से पूछो, और अभी मेरी बात हो रही थी दिव्यन जी से कि आजकल people don't even talk about the role or job or passion, they just talk about what is the budget, what is the salary. My only reason for joining this was एक पागलपन था, जुनून था कि एक बड़ा दुकान इंडिया में खोलना है। और बड़ा का हमारे को कोई साइज का मतलब नहीं था, क्योंकि हम लोग जितने भी इंडियंस हैं, हमारा साइज अपने घर के हिसाब से होता है। 3,000 स्क्वायर फीट का घर है तो पता है कितना बड़ा है। अगर किसी से पूछो कि 50,000 स्क्वायर फीट कितना, बता नहीं सकते। आप में से कोई बता सकता है कितना हॉल का क्या साइज है? अनइमेजिनेबल। हम घर तो हम कहेंगे अच्छा मेरा घर इतना बड़ा है, इसका दुगना, हाँ 2000 में रहता हूँ, 6,000 स्क्वायर फीट है। सो यू आर मोर और लेस अराउंड देयर। सो दैट्स हाउ आई जॉइन शॉप टू स्टॉप। सो एक अनपढ़ गंवार समझ सकते हो आप रिटेल में। अब हमारे सामने 1950 से दुकान चला रहे रिटेलर्स, दे आर ऑल पीपल हु हैव retailing in my blood, in their blood. I don't have any retailing in the blood. And that's how I started as the first employee of a company. जिस कंपनी का नाम भी नहीं था, शॉप स्टॉप, उस टाइम नाम भी नहीं था, कंपनी का नाम आइवरी प्रॉपर्टीज था, और मैं ज्वाइन कर लिया ऐसा पहले एम्प्लॉय. एंड when I went in, it was a theater, full-fledged theater. ऐसे chairs, 3 हॉल, अंबर, ऑस्कर, माइनर, एंड प्रीव्यू. अगर आप लोग में से किसी ने अंधेरे में वो थिएटर कॉम्प्लेक्स देखा है, प्रोजेक्टर्स वर देयर, एवरीथिंग वाज रनिंग एंड परफेक्ट. एंड आई सेड, कहाँ फंस गया यार, ये तो दुकान ही नहीं है. मेरे को बोला दुकान चलाना है. But anyhow, we started off from there. And then I met Mr. Raheja after a month, and I said, when should we open? He says, no, I have a target for you. You have to open before 4th November, it is Diwali. I joined on 1st of July of 1991. So 1st of July 1991, I joined as the first employee of the company. और मुझे टारगेट था कि 4 नवंबर को दिवाली, उससे पहले दुकान खोलने का है. छोटा दुकान, 2000 स्क्वायर फीट, 3000 स्क्वायर फीट. ना मेरे पास एम्प्लॉइज है, ना नाम है, ना सेल्स टैक्स है, ना प्रोडक्ट है, कुछ नहीं पता हमको, कपड़ा वपड़ा, नथिंग. So what I want to tell you is, if anybody has a junoon, anybody has a pagalpan, anybody has a passion, and he says, I don't know, I think that's the best thing to happen. The problem with all of us is, all of us start saying, I know it, मुझे पता है, मैं सब कुछ जानता हूँ, मैं सब कुछ जानता हूँ, इसलिए मैं किसी की सुनता नहीं हूँ. I mean, most wives say this only. Our husbands, they don't listen to us because they think he knows everything. But sometimes you find they don't know nothing. So it's actually not knowing which becomes the biggest strength. And that to me is been the learning for me. And everything after that I have done is always been on things which I have never done earlier. Okay, so I'll go back and keep coming back. जब शॉप स्टॉप बढ़ने लगा, जैसे आपने बोला कि ERP हमको खरीदना था, और कोई भी ERP का प्लेयर वर्ल्ड में आना नहीं चाहता था इंडिया में in 1995-96. So I had to pay them airfare, hotel fare, रहना खाना पीना, उनका माल खरीदने के लिए पैसा. You paid 8 crores. Can you imagine? That was the time there. But so when you are in a situation like this, how will you grow? So I said, unless we have an association, जो भी हम लोग चार, उस टाइम अकबर अलीस था, अगर आप लोग मुंबई में, अकबर अलीस, विवेक एंड कंपनी इन तमिलनाडु. सो मैंने कहा अगर हम 6-7 लोग मिलकर अगर एक एसोसिएशन बना ले तो शायद रिटेल रिकग्नाइज हो जाएगा. तो कल को अगर कोई ERP वाला आएगा तो उसको बोलूंगा, बस हम 10 रिटेलर हैं, एक के साथ शुरू करो, शायद दूसरा भी तुमको धंधा देगा. सो वी स्टार्टेड रिटेल एसोसिएशन. 3 बार फेल हुए, पर चौथे बार हो गया. एंड देन इट इज द लार्जेस्ट एसोसिएशन. आज हर महीने अगर गवर्नमेंट पब्लिकेशन रेफर करती है कि सेल्स ऊपर हुआ नीचे हुआ, रेफर रिटेल एसोसिएशन, इट इज दैट एसोसिएशन. सो द सेकंड लेसन आई लर्न इज, यू कांट ग्रो बाय योरसेल्फ. और यही आज हमारा देश का सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम हो गया है. यू कैन ओनली ग्रो इफ यू ग्रो द ओवरऑल पाई ऑफ द बिजनेस दैट यू आर इन. एंड ये हमको पुराना सीखना चाहिए. पुराना अगर आप जाओ जवेरी बाजार, एक के बगल 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 150 ज्वेलरी की दुकान है. Every competitor is on the same street, so they create a market. But today when we have to work it off, when it is competition, we say no, we don't want to be the competition. So if we collaborate and create a larger pie, then it's up to us how strong we are, and we can take the share of the pie. हमारे में काबिलियत ज्यादा है, मेरा 10% शेयर है, उनमें काबिलियत कम है तो उनका 2% शेयर है. So that's the second big lesson that I learned to collaborate. And today's world, if you look at it, is all about collaborating. And this is what I think we need to understand when we're talking of skilling and livelihood. I'll come to livelihood later on. All of us have to learn to collaborate. And the biggest collaboration that has happened today is in the families. I have a daughter, 2 daughters. The elder daughter is married. Son-in-law, I have a grandchild of 2 years. And every time they come, my wife reminds me, look at Divesh. Divesh is his name. Look at Divesh. Right from taking care of the child to potty cleaning to making the food and making the eats, सब कुछ करता है. तुमने कुछ नहीं किया. Yeah, देखो आप मैडम अब सर हिला रही हो, आपके घर में भी ऐसा होता होगा. Yeah, this is the reality. No, this is collaboration. Okay, but if you go and ask me, I didn't do anything because I was only busy 18 hours running my shop. My son-in-law also is a good job, but he takes time to do that. The same thing if you go to market. अब मार्केट में एक कस्टमर आ रहा है, मेरे पास ज्वेलरी का दुकान है, बगल में कपड़े का दुकान है, बगल में बच्चों का दुकान है, फुटवेयर का दुकान है, सब वही कस्टमर फैमिली हम 6 के पास आ रहा है. बट हम लोग 6 कभी भी मिलकर बैठेंगे नहीं. क्या एक ही फैमिली आ रहा है, सब लोग मिलकर अगर मार्केट करें, एक छोटा सा एक ग्रुप बना लें, उनको मार्केट करें, उनको बोले आप कपड़े खरीदोगे तो जूते पे ऑफर मिलेगा, कपड़ा जूता सब खरीदोगे तो पता शादी हो रहा है ज्वेलरी पे मिलेगा। जस्ट क्या होगा, किसी का 1 पैसा एक्स्ट्रा खर्चा नहीं होगा, पर सबका खर्चा 1/6 हो जाएगा। दिस इज, और फॉर एग्जाम्पल एक ही सप्लायर, ओके, वो सप्लाई कर रहा है लेट्स से एबी ज्वेलर्स को कॉटन, उसके बगल वाला सप्लायर कर रहा है टैग्स, वो साथ में नहीं भेजेंगे, अलग अलग भेजेंगे, इसका टेम्पो आधा खाली जा रहा है, उसका टेम्पो आधा खाली जा रहा है, बट दोनों पूरा टेम्पो को पैसा दे रहे हैं। So this to me is the most critical thing, and this is what is required. Why did Mr. Mukesh Ambani go and sign with Google and Facebook and get their money? I mean, there was no need. It's basically because you have to collaborate to make things happen and create an environment where you can get all capabilities. क्योंकि आज हमारे पास वो कैपेबिलिटी नहीं है। आई डोंट नो आप में से कितने लोग हो जिनको अपना स्मार्टफोन पूरा चलाना नहीं आता है, मुझे नहीं आता है, और मुझे सिखाती है मेरी बेटी, और अभी वो यहाँ नहीं है, बाहर है, तो मेरे फ्रेंड की बेटी 12 साल की मुझे सिखाती है, अंकल ये करो वो करो ये करो वो करो। इट्स कोलैबोरेशन। आई डोंट हैव द स्किल्स टू अंडरस्टैंड, बट शी हैज द स्किल्स टू अंडरस्टैंड। मुझे शर्म नहीं है कि मैं 12 साल की बेटी से सीखूं, पर मैं कंपनी में बॉस हूं ना, तो मैं अपने 15 या 21 साल के वो लड़के से नहीं सीखूंगा। I will not ask an employee who is 20 years to say, hey guy, hey, come and tell me, yeah, this, I don't know what to do that, because he is an employee, I am the boss. So collaboration is not only about businesses. I'm saying collaboration in family, collaboration with brothers and sisters, fathers, government, state government. Today also you look at it. One of the biggest challenge Mr. Modi has is how do you collaborate with state governments and central government? There are politics. I mean, let's keep it aside for the time being. So this lesson of collaboration was critical at that point of time when we formed the Retail Association. Again, something I had never done. He said about my stepping out at the age of 50. When I stepped out, I started a trust. जिंदगी में कभी हमने ट्रस्ट नहीं चलाया था. We are a family of employees. My father was in the railways, in the Northeastern Railway, born in Bangalore, brought up in Gorakhpur, 21 years in UP. So I've been a North Indian boy coming from South India. And my grandfather was an overseer, earning 8 rupees a month in Karnataka, somewhere, God knows. I started a trust with nothing, but I knew that I know nothing. And because I knew nothing, I went and met so many people. कोई trust चला रहा है, कोई lawyer है, कोई legal है, कोई donor है. I met a lot of employees. Although we had 60,000 employees who had crossed in my journey, I went and met them to say, ये करना चाहता हूँ, क्या करूँ, क्यों करूँ? So friends, this, when you say skilling and livelihood, हर किसी को लगता है कि मेरे को skilling and livelihood की जरूरत नहीं है. The skilling and livelihood is required for this person. I don't know how many of CEOs and managing directors and owners जो आप यहाँ बैठे हो, आप में से कितने लोगों ने पिछले 5 साल में प्रोग्राम अटेंड किया जिसमें आप अपना हुनर बढ़ाना चाहते हो? कोई है यहाँ पर? So there are 2 people in the whole audience. You know why? Because हम तो सब पढ़े. Oh sorry, madam, I didn't see your hand. Oh, 4th. Why the women should raise their hand first? Why do you wait for them to raise their hand and then slowly and slowly and slowly? इंडिया में ये बड़ा खतरनाक काम है, नो. So you don't know उठ रहा है नीचे जा रहा है. दूसरा खतरनाक है, how are you? So you don't know yes बोल रहे हो नहीं बोल रहे हो. Yeah? But anyhow, thank you so much. So you're talking of 6, 7, 8 people in an audience like this. This is because we believe we know it all. So when you talk of skilling, हम अपने ट्रस्ट में करते हैं skilling and livelihood program for दिव्यांग बच्चों के लिए, for the persons with disabilities, and for girls who come from very poor families. But to me, in organizations, the biggest skilling required, the biggest change required is the mindset of the owners. Okay, honestly, if you ask me, Naomi, if you have to do anything, do a program which is to change mindsets. Okay, there is no other program better than that. Because the moment you realize that changing mindset is changing the mindset of mine and changing the mindset of the leadership of the organization, this will change the world. And there are a lot of organizations, professionally run, who have done this. A lot of families are doing it. But only challenge is families is they educate their children. Okay, I have known of families where they would send their son to Harvard, but they have a general manager who's been working there for 30 years. 30 years general manager is working. He was 20 when he joined you. He's 50 now. You have a son who's 18 years, passed at 21 years. He's sent abroad to get trained. You spend 1 crore on him. But the general manager who understands the business better than your son who's born 20 years back has not been upgraded. Why do you send him for a training where you spend 5 lakhs, 10 lakhs, 50 lakhs? I think that's the mindset change that you require. So this whole skilling, हम करते हैं निचले तबकों के लिए, बट दैट डजंट मीन कि मैं आपको बोलूं कि आप लोग सब उसी में लग जाओ. नो, skilling and livelihood for us at a personal level, at an organizational level, at a family level, at a community level, it's critical to build the organization. Anyhow, coming back to retail, so that's how I started my career. That's where my journey has been, the journey of the last 50 years, and that's how my journey for the next 25 years is going to be. And when I told my wife that I have said 25 years of learning, 25 years of earning, 25 years of returning, she was very emotional. She thought I'm going to die at 75. So I said, no. 25, 25, 25 or ek aur 25 hai. What is it? I said, we're going to have fun together. So that time you'll be old. Oh, no, I'm having fun today also. So that's the way I look at my journey, because this industry which has given me so much is very large, very large. See, each one of us sitting don't realize how important and how big is this industry. Yes, day before yesterday we had a function, awards function. उसमें हमारी एक चीफ गेस्ट थी, शालिनी करके नाम है. तो वो फंक्शन में हम भी रिकॉग्नाइज द फ्रंट एंड एम्प्लॉय, रिटेल एम्प्लॉइज, सारे ऑल इंडिया से वी गेट एंट्रीज एंड रिकॉग्नाइज देम. सो वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट कोविड एंड वी आर सेइंग कि अगर कोविड में हमारी दुकानें नहीं खुलती, किराना दुकान, तो घर में चूल्हा नहीं चलता. या वी हैड अ बेबी बॉर्न इन कोविड एंड मिड ऑफ कोविड, अप्रैल ऑफ 2020, we didn't know how to get diaper, we didn't know how to do, nothing was there at home. I mean, पुराने जमाने में काट के ट्रायंगल बना लेते थे, अभी आज के जमाने में वो नहीं चलता है. So what do you actually do there? Somebody we called up, he said, okay, ठीक है, पुलिस परमिशन लिया, रात को शटर खोला, आधा शटर के नीचे गए, सारा कपड़ा दिया, लेके दिया. But I wanted it because it was desperate for me. But उस बंदे के लिए कोई नहीं था. ठीक है, धंधा मिल रहा है, but he was also risking his life. So आप एक बार इमेजिन करो कि वो मेडिकल शॉप, वो किराना वाला, वो दुकानदार जिसने कोविड के टाइम में आपको हेल्प किया, ओके, वो उसके क्या माइंडसेट होगा, व्हाट वुड बी हिज. तो शी वाज सेइंग कि यूएस जाना था और पहली बार बहू से मिलने जा रहे थे और बहू के लिए कुछ ले नहीं सकते थे. तो आपकी याद है मुझे उस टाइम वो ज्वेलर को फोन किया, उसने बोला मैडम मैं परमिशन लेता हूँ, आप आ जाओ. बोले इतना शटर खोला, मैं नहीं हूँ, घुस के गई अंदर, खरीद के लेके आई. एंड शी वाज अप्रिशिएटिंग दैट. So this retail industry in our country is so big and is so important. We don't understand because we only look at it one lens as ये दुकानदार है, ये किराना है, ये jeweler है, ये hardware वाला है. I was telling before, for a population of 130 crore, we have roughly between 1.2 to 1.5 crore shops which are known and registered. Unknown will be another 1.5 crore. सारे दुनिया में एक ऐसा देश है जहां पर कि हर 100 पॉपुलेशन पे एक दुकानदार खड़ा है, चाहे वो किराने वाला हो, चाहे ज्वेलर हो, चाहे वो कुछ भी हो, बट एक दुकानदार है. सो वी आर अ नेशन ऑफ शॉपकीपर्स. एंड व्हेन यू लुक एट दिस साइज, it actually employs between 46 to 50 million people. 5 crore people work in this industry to serve the 100 crore, 130 crore people that we have. These 5 crore people have a family size of 5. So there are 25 crore Indian on a 130 crore who are actually dependent on this industry. So you can imagine how big the industry is and how important the industry is. And the beauty of this industry is it is very local. छोटे से छोटे गांव में भी दुकान है, बड़े से बड़े शहर में भी दुकान है. And such large employment opportunity, we actually help to see how we can create employment locally for these kids. And that's what we do as trust. But we don't do it for everybody. We do it mostly for, like I said, persons with disability, which is deaf as well as orthopedically challenged, polio stricken. But what I want to tell you is that inherently, human being is very capable. Inherently, the human being is very capable. We, by our attitude, make people incapable. If you look at it, all kids, when they are born, within 6 months, they want to stand, they want to fall. जब बच्चा गिरता है, तो कोई माँ बोलती है इसको कि मेरा बच्चा फेल हो गया, फट से उंगली से पकड़ के खड़ा करती है, चलता है, फिर से पकड़ के खड़ा करती है, दौड़ता है, and he starts running. The same thing if you look at in our industries. If somebody fails in whatever he is trying to do, at whatever level, small level, assistant manager, manager, general manager, the first thing we say is, the guy has failed. So our ability to help people go through trials and succeed is also very, very low. And the people who are today succeeding are the ones who have been given this opportunity to try. So I always keep saying it's better to try and fail than not to try at all. And that again is one more thing when we are talking of building capabilities, because these are the capabilities, these are the mindsets that you want to build. I mean, today when we started the program, the first time in 2011, we got deaf into our program. I mean, deaf are speech and hearing impaired. They can't hear, they can't speak. Okay, so many of them refer to as deaf and mute. When we got them into program, retailer said, how can we take them? There's no way we can take them. They can't service the customers. Okay, we requested whatever, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them we got. In the last 10 years, we have trained 21,000 persons with disability. 72% of them have job. Out of 21,000, 54%, roughly 11,000 of them are deaf and mute, and they are working in retail shops. अगर आप नॉर्थ में जाओ विशाल मेगा मार्ट में, वहां 1650 बच्चे काम करते हैं. डी मार्ट में जाओ 250 बच्चे, रिलायंस में जाओ 750, शॉप स्टॉप में जाओ 25, लाइफस्टाइल में जाओ 100. And now they are working in local places. So jahan parents also saw, when I meet parents, they say, mera bacha, they use words, I don't want to use the words, but they use words to say he's not capable. But look at this capability. And then we go and ask customers. In Powai, we ask the customer, why do you come to this shop? And why don't you go to this shop? ये भी डीमार्ट है, ये भी डीमार्ट है, यहाँ क्यों जाते, यहाँ क्यों जाते? बोलते नहीं, इस डीमार्ट में ना सारे कैशियर जो हैं वो बच्चे डेफ हैं, बट क्या कैशियरिंग करते हैं एकदम कंसंट्रेट करके. Look at this. आपके सूरत के हैं ज्वेलेक्स करके एक कंपनी है. Okay, they सूरत से last 3 years they are sponsoring our kids. For the first time last month they took 10 of our deaf kids. And I said, what are you putting them for? He says, we are putting for jewelry setting. I said, jewelry setting? इतना अच्छा setting करते हैं, इतना concentration है और इतना productivity है कि पूछो मत. So आप देखो जहां सोसाइटी जिस चीज को इनकेपेबल बना देता है, उसी सोसाइटी में कैपेबिलिटी बढ़ाने के लिए this is important. Again, I don't want to get into the skilling and livelihood as a course or a content. I'm just saying as an arm, as community, you see what happens. And when you have 5 such people in a shop, I can tell you, अब मैं इनसे बात कर रहा था आज, अगर आपके 250 लोग काम करते हैं, उस 250 में अगर 10 लोग ऐसे बच्चे होंगे, 10 of them, suddenly you will find the balance 240 will become sensitive. And they will realize कि बस हमारे community भी ऐसे भी लोग हैं और वो हम जैसा काम हमसे अच्छा कर सकते हैं. And that capability is important. So when you include people, you actually create a much better community and much sensitized community. And when I'm saying this, I am using the word PWDs because that's the work that we do. But please remember, यहाँ जो बैठा हुआ हर आदमी अपने आप में पर्सन विद डिसेबिलिटी है. हर आदमी जो मैं कर सकता हूँ वो आप नहीं कर सकते हो, तो मेरे हिसाब से आप डिसेबल्ड हो. जो आप कर सकते हो मैं नहीं कर सकता, तो आपके हिसाब से मैं डिसेबल्ड. ओके, घर में बीवी बोलती है तुमसे अच्छा खाना नहीं बनाना था, उसके हिसाब से मैं खाने में डिसेबल्ड हूँ. I mean, every place, if you look at it, that's what it is. So the question is, how do you find the ability in this person and help them do this of skilling? And I'm still touching skilling. I will come to the livelihood program later on. So when we started this trust in 2011, we had nothing. I had no clue. Whatever savings we had, we put it. But I had never run a trust. We didn't have a team, nothing. But एक जुनून था, करना है, पागलपन था, करना है. And that is the next capability that you have to build. I mean, मनोज जी सोच सकते हैं कि मेरे 2 बेटे आ गए इस धंधे में, मैं 15 दुकान बनाऊंगा. The question is, उन दोनों को 15 दुकान बनाने के लिए आपका पागलपन ट्रांसफर कर रहे हो या उनका जुनून पागलपन है? अगर वो आके बोले पापा 15 दुकान खोलेंगे, then it is their pagalpan and junoon which you have to support. So how do you build that into people to think big, think differently? How do you create that capability in people? I mean, it's unbelievable. First center जब हमने खोला Santa Cruz में, we had a kid from Gujarat, deaf. He came and I went for the inauguration. I asked him कि आज सबसे अच्छी चीज क्या लगी? तो मुंबई का रहूं, वहां बैठा हूं, एयर कंडीशन क्लास था, ऐसा हिल से. इसे सर आज पहली बार मैंने पैंट पहना. I was shocked. I was shocked कि this is also possible in India. So I'm one side talking of somebody being sent for a 1 crore program, and one side I'm talking of somebody who's not even got a pant to wear. So when you're working as an organization and you're running retail, the capability building has to be seen at an individual level, but also saying, can we make the organization capable? And when you want to make the organization capable, you need to look at the mindset of the owners, the mindset of the CEOs, mindset of the managers, and capability building all across. Okay, I don't want to get into details of saying how you build the capability and what capabilities you build. But coming to connecting skilling to livelihood, and this is our journey. I know of the government. We started NSDC some 10 years, 12 years, 15 years back. Very, very thoughtful program, but missed the fact in the first 10 years that it has to be livelihood creation and not skilling. Because India has hundreds and thousands and millions of engineers and graduates, but no jobs. So unless you help person to get a job and prepare them for the job, and they get money coming into their business, okay, your skilling program has no meaning. So for those of you who run business, skill people who are within your organization so that they can become more productive, they can deliver more for you, and they can do better things for you. But those of you who want to be part of the skilling initiative, skill with an idea of saying, can you create a livelihood for the person? Can you make the person capable to do livelihood? Which is very, very important, because otherwise, the kind of dejection that people go through, okay, when they don't get jobs after they are skilled, because earlier education was पढ़ा लिखा है मेरा बेटा, ग्रेजुएशन होना चाहिए, उसके बाद में हुआ पढ़ा लिखा है तो जॉब मिलेगा, उसके बाद में हुआ पढ़ा लिखा है तो जॉब नहीं मिलता, सो क्या, इतने लोगों को जॉब नहीं मिलता है. बट our generation, many of your generation have worked very hard कि आजकल हमारे बच्चे वो पापा मैं गैप ईयर ले रही हूँ, एक साल पढ़ाई भी नहीं करूंगी, कुछ भी नहीं करूंगी, क्या करोगे, मैं वहां टूर कर रही हूँ, वहां ट्रैक कर रहा हूँ, वहां ये कर रहा हूँ, वहां कर रही हूँ. Could we have thought? But they can do it because we have slogged. And we say, ठीक है, तू कर करके आप घर पे तो रोटी मिलेगा, खाना मिलेगा, रह सकते हो. So that's the generation that has become here. So therefore you are saying after graduation, if I don't get the job, I'm okay because somebody can sustain it. But a lot of places it is not okay to sustain it. So it is important for you to look at saying, how do I provide livelihood? So if you're creating a skilling organization like what you're doing with AMA, I would strongly recommend, especially AMA is such a large organization with so many members who are industry, tie that up in such a way that everybody is linked. So on the first day when you do a course, if it is a livelihood course, I would say bring the potential recruiters into the classroom. In most cases, what we do is we try to bring the potential recruiters in the classroom on the last day. Okay, this is not I mean this kind of skilling. Bring them in the first day. So for example, अगर आप ज्वेलरी का कोर्स कर रहे हो, तो आप इतना बड़ा क्लास करो कि जिसमें आप केवल 10% लोग आप ले सकते हो. बैलेंस जो 90% है वो आपके कॉम्पिटिटर को लेने दो. ओके, आप बोलोगे ये क्या कर रहा हूँ, पैसा मैं खर्चा कर रहा हूँ, मैं ट्रेन कर रहा हूँ, कॉम्पिटिटर के पास जाओगे. सर, यू आर सेंडिंग ब्रांड एम्बेसडर्स टू देम. अगर कोई त्रिभुवनदास जीवन में काम करेगा, बोला क्या क्या लड़की यार, क्या फर्स्ट क्लास ट्रेनिंग है, कैसा अच्छा काम करती है, हाँ वो एम ज्वेलरी के कोर्स से आई है, आपका ब्रांड आपके कंपटीशन में भी जा रहा है. सो आई एम सेइंग थिंक फ्रॉम एन एंगल ऑफ सेइंग हाउ डू यू, वंस यू डू दैट, 2 साल वहां काम करके शायद आपके पास सुपरवाइजर बन के वापस आ जाएगी. How do you really create that ecosystem which can be upgraded? If you don't upgrade the ecosystem, industry doesn't get upgraded. So my sincere suggestion is create livelihood, create skilling, but join them together. Again, let me come a little forward. So 1991 was the first Shopper Stop. 1995 was the second. 1998 was the third. That is when we launched ERP. And 2003-5, we added some more stores. Then, of course, 30, 40, 50. Now we are adding 12 stores. Only difference is each of our store is 40,000 square feet. So आज हमने जब शुरू किया था तो पहला दुकान वो 2,800 स्क्वायर फीट का था. आज हमारा टोटल जो है वो 4.7 मिलियन स्क्वायर फीट है. So 2,800 स्क्वायर फीट से लेके 47 लाख स्क्वायर फीट, मतलब roughly 50 lakh square feet is the area that we go. The first time when we started off, the first year ka turnover was 47 lakhs. Okay, just before the COVID was 4,000 crores. Maybe it will be 5,500 crores. Our CEO has committed to the market saying we'll be a 7,000 crore company in the next 3 years time. Okay, but हमको लगा हम खुदा हैं, सब कुछ हैं. अंबानी साहब आए पिछले 6 महीने पहले, अभी 2 लाख करोड़ का बिजनेस बना दिया उन्होंने. So I'm saying this is a country of opportunity. Huge, huge, huge opportunity. And retail is probably the biggest opportunity because of consumption. And consumption is happening in almost all the places, including, I'm sure, in Gujarat also. So the growth possibility, the possibility of employment creation is very high. But the skills required for running the current to the future business has changed totally. How many of you do shopping on online? Anybody here जो shopping online कभी किया ही नहीं है, करता ही नहीं है? आप हो? Very good. So 99.99% here shop online. So if 99.9% shop online, then if you are a retailer or you're a businessman, can you survive by not having an online channel? No. Today what's happened is that people who are offline, उनको ऑनलाइन का डर लग गया है बिकॉज ऑफ अमेजोन और फ्लिपकार्ट एंड बिकॉज इकोनॉमिक टाइम्स ऑफ फ्रंट पेज पे केवल ऑनलाइन की बात होती है. $100 million आया, एक यूनिकॉर्न बना, एक पॉपकॉर्न बना, एक डिस्कॉर्न बना, एंड पीपल आर वर्किंग हार्ड टू बिकम ऑनलाइन. But online is not to be done because somebody else is doing online. Online is to be done because your customers are going online. हम जब दुकान चलाते थे 11 बजे खोलते थे और 10 बजे बंद कर देते थे. हमारा कस्टमर जो 10 बजे सो के सवेरे 6:30 बजे उठता था, वॉक करके 9 बजे ऑफिस जाता था, फिर 11 बजे से ऑफिस गया, बीबी आके हमारे साथ 11 बजे शॉप करती थी. तो हम जब दुकान खोलते थे उस टाइम हमारा कस्टमर शॉप करता था. अभी हम जब दुकान खोलते हैं तब भी शॉप करती है, बंद करते हैं तो भी शॉप करती है. So if she is shopping in the night, your children are shopping in the night, if I close my shop, then you are saying competition, please take it away. So why do we crib when somebody is doing better business when we are not offering our customer a choice to shop? So you have no option then to do online and become omni-channel. But you do omni-channel from a customer point of view, not because competition is doing. And because competition is doing, you start omni-channel, half of us are burning money. And itna zyada losses ho raha hai ki you can't even count with 10 fingers together. So the moment this shift is happening, a lot of skill sets which are coming are new skill sets. And therefore, this whole industry is going through a very, very different situation where skill sets have to be changed at every level. And especially the owners and promoters, agar aap malik log baithe ho, your mindset to be able to understand what is required is very, very important. I mean, I do a lot of work with the families, just out of my trust. I'm not a consultant advisor anywhere. And one of the biggest challenges, you decide to send your son to Harvard, Oxford, New Zealand, Australia. उसको पढ़ा लिखा के एकदम फर्स्ट क्लास कर दिया, तो वो मॉडर्न स्किल सेट से वापस आया घर. अभी he wants to change everything, but you don't know what the change is. So you are struggling. You are not struggling because you don't want to support your son. You are struggling because you don't understand what he's saying. Because your skill sets are not there. So what will you do? You will say, एक काम करते हैं, मामा को बोलो, अंकल को बोलो, सब बैठ के बात है. वो अंकल को भी कुछ नहीं पता, मामा को भी कुछ नहीं पता. So you have to create an ecosystem where your next generation can take on. Now, this is not generational issue. This is skill issue. This is capability issues. And that is one of the biggest challenge we are going as a country today. Because our country, MSMEs are very, very large number. I think 96% or 95% of our country is MSMEs. MSMEs are run by families. And families, the biggest problem is either their children have become very educated or they're not having enough money to hire youngsters whose cost of salary has gone up like anything today. And I have many discussions. I met an MSME, 15, 25 crores. He wants to go to 50 crores. He says, my son can do this very, very well, but I require a CEO or somebody. Okay. But he's asking for 50 lakh salary. I don't want to pay 50 lakhs. I want to pay 20 lakhs. But koi mil nahi raha hai. What is the solution? The solution is that please share your wealth with the guy. उसको बोलो तुमको 20 लाख सैलरी देता हूं, that is what I can afford. But अगर कंपनी 25 से 50 करोड़ गई तो उसमें से 2% तेरा आएगा, तो 5 करोड़ तो वैसे भी लेके जाओगे. Do you have that? Requires a mindset change. Okay, that requires a mindset change to share the wealth. And this mindset change has not happened because a lot of us have not even shared our wealth with the children in our living time. Most Indians love to, live very poor and die rich. So how do you change that mindset for yourself? We love to see unicorns. मेरा बेटा ओला में काम कर रहा है, उसको 5 करोड़ मिल गया. But why? Because Ola guy thought so. Narayan Murthy has created 1,000 billionaires, Indian rupee billionaires, because he decided to share wealth. That's how he built the company. 30 years back, he also didn't have 100 crores. So today, if you have to build the company, you have to have that mindset of my sharing my wealth. I mean, you don't have to give majority, 1%, 2%, 5%. I mean, 1998, Shop Stop, K. Rahejas, builders, Hindis decided to say, we'll do ESOPs. So all of us got ESOPs. Shop Stop has created 30, 40, 50 millionaires, 1998. Because somebody was willing. Today, still they are holding 67% of the company. Today, still they are holding a company worth 5,000 crores. They're still worth 3,000, 5,000 crores only from Shop Stop. Alag dhanda alag hai. So I'm saying that mindset you have to build. So again and again repeating, हम ट्रस्ट में नीचे के तबकों के लिए स्किलिंग एंड लाइवलीहुड करते हैं, बट आई एम सेइंग वो ऊपर से शुरू होना चाहिए. आई एम टोल्ड, आई डोंट नो, आई एम टोल्ड दैट द होल अंबानी फैमिली, एंड आप में से शायद उनको जानते होंगे, मिलो तो पूछना, दे डू मल्टीपल कोर्सेज एवरी ईयर, इंक्लूडिंग मिस्टर मुकेश भाई. रात रात को 12-12 बजे, 1-1 बजे, probably he does courses. Why? Because he has this thing to create the world, but for that he has to learn, so he goes and learns. So how do we actually self improve and make a difference to ourselves? Anyhow, it happened, like I said, this company started growing. 45 years was when I decided I'll quit. So Rajas came and said, but if you quit, what will happen? I said, if you don't allow me to quit, something will happen. So at the age of 45, when I said I'm going to quit at 50, they accepted that I'm really genuine. Because they say, सब बोलते हैं ऐसे कोई कुछ करता नहीं है. So we actually got a person. We groomed him over 5 years and he took over from me as managing director. And I have left, the company is still running. Retail Association of India, I left, the association is still running. It's become bigger and better. So the next learning that I want to share is about how do you work on succession, and succession of capability, not of blood relations. A lot of families believe that the successor will be children because they never do capability assessment for their children. They will assess everybody's skill set but never of the children. So if something happens, and this is what I told the Rajas, I said, अभी मैं यहाँ से बाहर जा रहा हूँ, रास्ता क्रॉस कर रहा था, बस आके लड़क गया, मार गया, मैं तो मर गया. अभी ढूंढो मैनेजर अपना, नहीं मिलेगा. So do we plan? Do all of us plan? In the population of 8 billion in the world, every day, at least 30-40 million people don't get up. Morning. We don't know which one of us will not get up. So if we are running a business, are we building capability for succession? And that will again happen through this. Forget the livelihood part of it. So one of the biggest factors of growth, look at how Mr. Rahul Bajaj did, what he did for such a big empire. Today, all his companies are firing. Look at the way he gave shares to people, but made each individual run the company. No conflicts. Look at the way some of the South Indian companies have done this. Amazing. So small business, big business, small families, large families, this is extremely important. Always, always. And our Hindu philosophy says that all of us have to go. Our Hindu philosophy talks about how things have to move and how you have to create perpetuality. Please think of that. Pick people at an early stage, whether he's a professional or your son or daughter. Okay, ensure that their capabilities are built. They are skilled. They are made ready. Step out at a time when you can step out and see their capability. Don't step out at a time when you are no more capable to see their capability. This is again a very, very big issue. Okay, I will not leave my chair till the time I am 75. But at 75, something happens now from the bed I want to control. I can't control from the bed. And the person is not ready. So pass the succession at a time when you can teach what you want to teach to the people, so that can make a big difference to them. 45, that happens. 50, I stepped out. Nothing has changed in the world. Things are going very well in Shoppers. Shoppers has survived. We have survived. Our organization has grown. But the past learning I did was, on day one, we appointed a CEO of the trust. On day one, we ensured that none of my family members are part of the trust. It's not a family trust. It's a professional trust run by a professional. So I know if tomorrow the bus runs over, or if I cross on that side, the trust will continue. There will be challenges, but it will continue there. So that's the learning that I've had over the last few years. So just I will repeat. The most important thing is I don't know. The most important thing is I don't know. The moment you say I don't know, somebody will tell you how to do it, and you can improve your capability and scaling. The second important thing is that you have to build the capability of the ecosystem. The third important thing is have a dream which is bigger than your life. Sadhguru Jagivasdev, I actually work with in the ashram. I do a lot of work in the ashram every year. And he tells me that, Nagesh, your purpose should be so large that you die a failure. If you're able to achieve your purpose in life during a lifetime, then it's not a big purpose. Okay, so that's the third thing. Whatever you're doing, individual, company, professional, do something, think which is very large, so that at least you can work towards it. There's ambition, aspiration, and do that. Fourth, create an ecosystem so that the ecosystem grows. Fifth, whatever you're doing, small business, big business, see that it is inclusive. As retailers, we work in the community, for the community, and earn from the community. This is very important. We work for the community, in the community, and earn from the community. But until unless we make the community inclusive, okay, you've not done a good job. But if you can make the community as part of your whole business, I think it's fantastic. Community will love you. And there are a lot of places where I have seen this happening across. This is the part of inclusiveness. And the last part is that all of us have to go one day, create capabilities so that there is succession after you and there's perpetuity. Okay, every organization, every family has to grow and live for not decades, but generations and generations and generations. So with this, my wishes to your foundation and the AB Jeweler Skill Center is this today the beginning, let it live for generations to generations. And whatever you do should actually impact millions and millions of people. And hopefully each one of you that train or get trained, get livelihoods, and they have a much better impact. Thank you very much for being here. If you have any questions,
First of all, it was really so inspiring and I'll say enriching, and it all came from the heart. So that makes all the difference. I don't say more. I'm lost of words, but coming from somebody, as they say in English, coming from the horse's mouth, that's a big difference. So much take home today. And before we end, before I deliver a formal word of thanks, we have a 5 to 10 minutes for a question hour, question answer session, which Mr. Nagesh will please take. Manoj, bhai.
सर मेरा एक सवाल है कि हम जैसे बिजनेसमैन जो भी ज्वेलरी शॉप से या कोई भी काम करते हैं, तो जैसे आपने बीच में कहा, हम अपने आप को कभी ट्रेन करने की दिशा में नहीं बोलते, अपग्रेड करने की दिशा में नहीं बोलते। जैसे आप आउटसाइड ये कोर्सेज वगैरह चलते हैं, तो ये माइंडसेट हम कैसे बदल सकते हैं और इस प्रकार का कोर्स हम पहले करें कि ये माइंडसेट हमारा बदल सके। सीधा जाके हाउ टू सेल बिग ज्वेलरी और बड़ा मात्रा में बेचे ऐसा नहीं, लेकिन ये जो हम हमारा जो अभिगम है न सीखने वाला और हम सब कुछ जानते हैं, ये बदलने के लिए हम किस प्रकार के कोर्स कर सकते हैं और क्या इस प्रकार के कोर्स एएमए में चलते हैं? तो पहले आप जवाब दीजिए, फिर आप भी दीजिए।
सर इसका बहुत इजी तरीका है। सो व्हेनेवर आप जैसे दोस्तों से मिलते हैं और ऐसा क्वेश्चन आता है, तो मेरा पहला सजेशन ये होता है कि आप एक अपने कंपनी में एडवाइजरी बोर्ड बनाओ। ओके, गेट अ सेट ऑफ एडवाइजर्स फ्रॉम आउटसाइड द इंडस्ट्री, नॉट फ्रेंड्स, ओके, हु कैन एक्चुअली क्वेश्चन यू। क्या होता है, एज ओनर्स व्हेन वी ग्रो ना, घर में बीबी के अलावा आपसे कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं करता, ठीक है? तो आपको आदत होगी कि कोई पूछेगा तो अजीब सा लगता है। सो यू रिक्वायर पीपल हु कैन आस्क यू, यू रिक्वायर पीपल हु कैन पोक यू, हु कैन टेल यू मनोज ये गलत है। तो द मोमेंट यू स्टार्ट ना, यू स्टार्ट लर्निंग। सो आई वुड नॉट से कि इमीडिएटली गो अक्रॉस एंड स्टार्ट डूइंग अ कोर्स, नो। व्हाटएवर यू हैव 5 shops 10 shops, आई एम श्योर देयर आर पीपल, संजय भाई बैठे हैं वहां पर, बहुत से ऐसे लोग हैं जो कि who will come once a month, will meet, आप अपना प्रॉब्लम शेयर करोगे, ग्रोथ शेयर करोगे, and they will come and give their perspective, and वो perspective is the learning for you, क्योंकि वहां पर आपकी वहां कोई सुनेगा नहीं, आपको उनका सुनना है। आपके कमरे में बोर्ड मीटिंग में आपके बेटे they have no choice, अगर बहुत इज्जत वाले हैं तो पूछेंगे नहीं, आजकल के जमाने में तो तार तोड़ करते हैं, but that is important. So start with having an advisory board, start going and look at that person who can be critical to you, but get people from outside, preferably not from your industry, because आज आपका कॉम्पिटिटर कहां उठ के खड़ा हो रहा है आपको पता ही नहीं है। शायद कोई बच्चा 21 साल का एक ज्वेलरी का बिजनेस बना रहा है आपके घर के गराज के पीछे, और वो आपको कंपटीशन में कल खड़ा हो जाएगा। You know, if you look at the Blue Stone, if you look at the Carrot Lane, these are all companies which have come out, which have got nothing to do with jewelry. I mean, they became big jewelry brands later on. So first that. Second is, there are courses. I mean, I don't know about here, but SP Jain runs a course for family business. There are courses across, globally भी है, जहाँ पर कि you can get, but I would say take step by step, not immediately. अभी AMA कर रहा है कि नहीं, I leave it to Divin bhai.
Yes, Manoj bhai, to answer your question, in two parts I'll answer. One is કે તમારો પોતાનો કેસ, તમે નજીકમાં રહેતા હતા, આપણે વાત થઈ ઘણા વર્ષો પહેલા, અને આપ ઘણા લોકો અહીંયા મોર્નિંગ વોકર્સ આવે, એક સંસ્થા છે, કોઈ જુદા જુદા ટાઈપના કોર્સ થાય છે, એમ તમને જિજ્ઞાસા હતી અને આપ કોર્સ કર્યો, પછી તમને એક થયું કે પ્રોફેશનલાઇઝેશન થવું જોઈએ, પછી આ વસ્તુ તમે એક્સટેન્ડ તમારા સ્ટોરમાં કરી, ફેમિલીમાં કરી. એક આ પાર્ટ છે. બીજો પાર્ટ છે કે જેમ પેલું એલ્વિન ટોફલરે કીધું કે એવરી વન હેઝ ટુ અનલર્ન એન્ડ રીલર્ન. દુનિયા ખૂબ બદલાઈ રહી છે. આપણે જોઈએ રાઈટ ફ્રોમ સિમ્પલ એક્ઝામ્પલ, આપણે સરે એક્ઝામ્પલ આપ્યું તો નીચે સ્માર્ટફોનનો, કે પહેલા ફીચર ફોન હતા, પછી આજે વો ઇવન વોટ થિંક યુઅર 5 years ago you've got, oh, I've got this great Nokia phone. What is Nokia today? Absolutely obsolete. એની કાંઈ નથી. એટલે રોજ મેં તો ટેકનોલોજીનો દાખલો આપ્યો, પણ દરેક ફિલ્ડમાં જે રીતે આપ 20 વર્ષ પહેલા કે 25 વર્ષ પહેલા જ્વેલરી વેચતા, આજે જુદી રીતે વેચો છો. સો એક ઓપન માઇન્ડ હોય છે, અને જેમ સરે 80% જવાબ આપી દીધો છે કે આપણે કોન્સ્ટન્ટલી વી આસ્ક અવર ફ્રેન્ડ્સ, વી આસ્ક અવર યુ એક્સચેન્જ થોટ્સ, બી એન ઓપન માઇન્ડ. આઈ થિંક વન ઓફ ધ બેસ્ટ વે ઇઝ લર્ન ફ્રોમ યંગસ્ટર્સ. દેટ ઇઝ વન ઓફ ધ બેસ્ટ ટીચર્સ. આપણે જે કહે છે ને રિવર્સ મેન્ટરિંગ એઝ દે કોલ્ડ ઇન મેનેજમેન્ટ જાગન, પણ આ વસ્તુ એક ખરેખર આપણા ઘરમાં પણ આપણે કરીએ છીએ. જેમ મોબાઈલનો દાખલો આપીએ કે આપણા છોકરાઓ પાસેથી, ભત્રીજી પાસેથી આપણે મોબાઈલના ફીચર શીખીએ છીએ, એમ ઘણું બધું આપણે યંગસ્ટર પાસેથી શીખીએ છીએ. આ મારો એક જવાબ છે. થેન્ક યુ. એન્ડ રિગાર્ડિંગ કોર્સિસ, જેમ સરે કીધું કે ફોર એક્ઝામ્પલ અહીંયા ઈડીઆઈ છે, ત્યાં એ લોકો દેવ નિર્મા દેવ MBA ફોર ફેમિલી બિઝનેસીસ, એવા સ્પેશિયલાઇઝ વર્ઝન્સ છે. અને એમાં ક્યારેક એન્ટરપ્રનર્સનું એક સેન્ટર છે. એવી રીતે આપણે એવા અમુક બિઝનેસ અને એક્સપર્ટ સેશન્સ ક્યારેક કર્યા છે, પણ એ શોર્ટ ટર્મ સેશન્સ હોય છે, લાઈક 2 days કે એવી રીતે ગિવિંગ અ હાઇલાઇટ. પણ ડિટેલ ઘણાને મેઇન ફ્રેમ MBA ના કરવો હોય તો ફેમિલી બિઝનેસ વાળા આવા કોર્સિસ અટેન્ડ કરી શકે. થેન્ક યુ.
The other important thing is, especially since I'm seeing 3 generations sitting, is there is some wisdom which is sitting with your father. Okay, I think there should be a formal way of he passing it on to your grandchildren. Formal way, हाँ, चाय में खाने के टाइम में बात नहीं करना कि पापा जी बताओ आप. Formal way. They should go back and say, आज ये challenge आ रहा है. He will be able to say कि ऐसा challenge 25 साल पहले भी आता था. How did he solve that? Okay, and this is a wealth of knowledge that you should not lose. And like he said, reverse mentoring, you also can get mentors and coaches today. So begin with advisory board, mentoring, reverse mentoring, wisdom from generations which is not recorded.
Yeah, sir, I have a question. Now, India is a service-based economy, and it is anticipated by 2030, India will be the only country which have got young manpower available. Now, which are the industry you foresee that people, our youngsters should concentrate on the service industry? That is one part. Question number 2 is, now small retailers and small shopkeepers, they are feeling they're under threat from the bigger organization, other thing. Even I still prefer to buy it from few of the small shops also, because they deliver good quality materials and everything. So unless they come out of the threat and they freely do the business, then they will shrink ultimately, and the larger industry or larger organization, they will run the business.
So I think first we need to understand the maths of India. Okay, if India is a $700 billion number के लिए round off कर रहा हूँ, उसमें से जो food का business is 55%. Okay, so again round off $350 billion. उसमें से modern retail is not even 5%. ठीक है, 95% of $350 billion is still with kiranas. Okay, or smaller. Indian consumption has grown between 6 to 7%. So $350 million has grown by 6 to 7% a year. So $20 to $21 billion being added every year. The total modern retail in food is not worth $21 billion. So as of today, the Indian pie is growing faster than the bigger competitor is able to take on. So that's one side. So as of now, I don't see the threat. Where is the threat? The consumer is getting used to larger assortment. आज से 20 साल पहले हम लोग चाय के साथ में मॉर्निंग में 5 रुपए का पार्ले जी बिस्किट खाते थे. आज मॉर्निंग में चाय के साथ में 5 रुपए से 500 रुपए तक मैकविट से लेकर दुनिया भर का बिस्किट है. आप डीमार्ट में घुस जाओ तो 4 रैक केवल बिस्किट ही बिस्किट भरा हुआ है. तो उतना बिस्किट का असॉर्टमेंट एक किराना नहीं रख सकता है. बट ही शुड नो व्हाट टू कीप एंड व्हाट नॉट टू कीप. ओके, वी हैव हमारे ट्रस्ट में वी ऑल्सो डू समथिंग कॉल्ड किराना फ्रेंड्स, 6 महीने पहले शुरू किया हमने, और उसमें रिसर्च है, अगर आप हमारे साइट पे जाओ तो वो रिसर्च रिपोर्ट है, एक्सेंचर और ट्रेन ने मिलके किया है। उसमें हमने ये डॉक्यूमेंट प्रूव कर दिया है कि जो भी किराना मॉडर्नाइज हुआ है 1000 से 1500 का स्क्वायर फीट का, जिसने क्लोज्ड काउंटर के ऊपर बेचने से लेके ओपन बना दिया सुपरमार्केट, उसका साल 3 साल में डबल हो गया है, प्रॉफिट डबल हो गया है, उसका बेटा वापस ग्रेजुएशन करके दुकान में आ गया है, घर खाना खाने जाता है, बीबी खुश है, और मार्केट में उसकी इज्जत बढ़ गई। So it is possible, the whole opportunity is still open, and I think this will remain for the next 10 to 15 years. This whole thing about Zepto and 10 minutes delivery and online and offline, it's all fantastic, but it's not making business sense as on today. Okay, we have to wait and watch and see what is happening. But with the government, मोदी जी का वो जो ONDC प्रोग्राम शुरू हो रहा है, आज आपने शायद पढ़ा होगा, अगर वो ONDC हो गया, जैसे हमारा UPI है, आज हम गूगल पे, फोन पे ये सब करते हैं, अगर ONDC हो गया ना, तो हमारा किराना से लेके छोटा सा छोटा शॉपकीपर अमेजोन और फ्लिपकार्ट से जो है कम्पीट कर सकता है, क्योंकि पूरा का पूरा ग्लोबल लेवल पे इंडिया में जो है ई-कॉमर्स प्लेटफॉर्म बन रहा है टेक्नोलॉजी। So I think the opportunity is very, very large, and I don't think there's a problem on that side. Coming to your first question on services, see, services mein there are two things that are happening. One is happening which is at the lowest level, जहाँ हम काम करते हैं अपना ट्रेन में 8 पास 10 पास, इट्स नॉट दैट कि वो पढ़ नहीं सीखते हैं, उनके घर के सर्कमस्टांसेस उनको पढ़ने को अलाउ नहीं कर रहे हैं, या और कुछ लोगों को जरूरत है कि उनका 16 साल का 12 साल का बच्चे भी उनके साथ में काम करें, घर में इनकम चाहिए उनको, तो वहां के लिए जो डेवलप हो रहा है वो सब मोस्टली नॉट मेजर स्किल्स, वेरी लो स्किल्स। आई मीन लुक एट द नंबर ऑफ स्विगी ड्राइवर्स एंड द जोमैटो ड्राइवर्स व्हिच हैव कम इन, or Denso or Zepto, and they're all over the place. Okay, not much skill required. There the hierarchy is also very flat, because जो supervisory role होता है बाकी business में, वो supervisory role the app has taken over. So that is one kind of job which is getting created. It will continue to get created. But there's other segment in the service which is going high. If you look at salon, if you look at parlors, if you look at restaurants, there are lots and lots of levels are coming which are very good. So for example, we never thought that any of our children will become chef. अगर पुराने जमाने में बोलो आपका बेटा क्या कर रहा है, बावर्ची बनेगा, बट टुडे पूछने के पहले बोलता शेफ है. I mean, बावर्ची is low, chef is high. This kind of lot of jobs are opening up in the country. So that's the second, which requires skill, and that's good. Even for these kids who are 10, 12, 15 past, because it's all passion and things. Then there's a huge amount of jobs coming in the service, because everything in India is becoming SaaS. I mean, for most of you who will understand, capex is getting moved into opex. Okay, हमने जब सेटअप किया था ERP, उस टाइम 1 करोड़ $1 मिलियन 6 करोड़ उस टाइम लगाया था, टोटल 28 करोड़ लगा हमारा. आज के दिन में उसको करने के लिए कुछ जरूरत नहीं है. आप 5 लाख रुपया महीने का दो, आपको सारा का सारा आपके दुकान में आ जाएगा, बिकॉज SaaS is somebody is investing and is providing through the web services. Now that is a big movement which is happening, but it is getting polarized. वो बीच में services नहीं बढ़ रहा है. Okay, services is happening at the lowest level and at the highest level. Mostly it is technology-led services developing. The other important thing is that because of COVID, the work from home and work not of offices come out. So a lot of services will get developed in outer places which you never thought so. Okay, so for example, बहुत से लोग हैं जो हमको नहीं पता स्क्रीन में कहाँ बैठे, कोई गोवा में बैठा, कोई मनाली में बैठा, कोई कहीं बैठा हुआ है वो, बट दे आर एक्चुअली वर्किंग फ्रॉम देयर. अगर वो मनाली में बैठी है, गोवा में बैठा, उसको रूम चाहिए, ओके, वहां उसको सर्विसेज चाहिए, तो वो सर्विसेज जो है वो दैट इज नाउ डेवलपिंग. So if you keep your eyes open, I think a lot of opportunities are coming up, but all these opportunities require a different skill set. जो हमारा पुराना ट्रेडिशनल स्किल सेट्स है, उससे many of these opportunities will not come. And unfortunately, colleges में करिकुलम कुछ नहीं बदला है, तो अभी भी हमारे ग्रेजुएट्स वही निकल के आ रहे हैं. Nothing is happening there. Yes, please.
Thank you for such an amazing session. Mr. Nagesh, you have touched upon a very important point of human development, that is investing in self, continuous learning. Why it is necessary that we shouldn't stop learning. जैसे पेट को खाना चाहिए, वैसे दिमाग को भी खाना चाहिए, जैसे हम आगे बढ़ते हैं लाइफ में. But Nagesh, giving the importance to learning, in my experience, what I have seen is even industries, major industries, they don't think investing in training their employees is a necessity. They think it's a luxury, and it is not at all necessary. Once in a while you do sessions, it's more than enough. But why? Because इवन द एम्प्लॉयज हैव टू बी, जैसे आजकल मोबाइल में अगर सॉफ्टवेयर हम अपग्रेड करते हैं, हर 4 महीने में सॉफ्टवेयर अपग्रेड होता है, तो एप्स काम नहीं करते हैं. सो एज अ ह्यूमन बीइंग अपग्रेडिंग आवरसेल्व्स इज नो मोर ए लग्जरी, इट्स अ नेसेसिटी. बट इवन एट एन ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल लेवल, इंडिविजुअल लेवल में तो बहुत मुश्किल है वो रियलाइज करना, पर ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल लेवल में भी वो रियलाइजेशन is not there to the extent it has to be.
I agree with you, but there are two parts of it. You started off with saying self-learning, and you started off saying मुझे पेट भरना है तो खाती हूँ. तो अगर दिमाग को भी कुछ खाना खाइए तो आपको ही खाना पड़ेगा. So I think there is a serious challenge with employees because they believe that learning and development is the job of the company. Okay, so I would say that each one of us will have to create our own learning charter and create some part of learning that we have to go ourselves. अभी आप साल में एक बार छुट्टी लेके जाते हो, ओके, आप किसी हिल स्टेशन पे जाते हो, 10,000 रुपया खर्चा करते हो उस पे रूम के लिए, तो आप ये देखो कि आप साल में अपने ऊपर आपने क्या खर्चा किया. That's your responsibility, irrespective of the company. Okay, I agree with you that a lot of companies are not able to find enough fund and resources to develop everybody, and that's why you find that it is not 100%. All of good companies have potential development where they look at the so-called high potentials and they help them grow. So if you are a high potential, you will definitely get the skill upgradation. If you are not a high potential, then you have to think, how do you become a high potential? But if you think that you're not there, then you have to go through self-development. And through the self-development route, find a place where you can be the high potential. Okay, that's opportunity seeking. But it is a दो हाथ का है. Okay, हम लोग सोचते हैं कंपनी का काम है, कंपनी सोचती है you are not skilled enough. Okay, the last thing in this is it's very unfortunate. हम जब रिक्रूट करते हैं लोग उनके स्ट्रेंथ्स को देख के रिक्रूट करते हैं. एक साल के बाद हम उनको जो रिव्यू करते हैं तो हम उनके केवल वीकनेसेस को रिव्यू करते हैं. दिस इज अ वेरी वेरी चैलेंजिंग थिंग वी आर सीइंग. ओके, एंड उसके बाद में वी पुट मनी टू डेवलप देयर वीकनेसेस. बट अगर उस बंदे का वीकनेस होता तो आप उसको रिक्रूट ही नहीं करते. 95% स्ट्रेंथ के लिए क्या, उसके स्ट्रेंथ को इवैल्यूएट करो कि उसके स्ट्रेंथ का कैपेबिलिटी हमने यूज किया कि नहीं. So these are things which as an employee you have to say, boss, you took me for this. This is what I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, you're only ragadofying class half an hour कि तूने ये नहीं किया, ये नहीं किया. So that's the job that you have to take it up as an individual.
Yes, anybody?
There is somebody at the back.
Please, please, please. Mask, please. Yeah, yes. So that you can get it.
Thanks a lot for AMA people और जो प्रोग्राम किया इसके बारे में. My question is, in skill, is it an investment or expense? Skill training is an expense or an investment. Like CSR activities of companies, there should not be something for training के लिए.
So it is an investment written into the expense account in P&L.
Perfect.
The outcome of that P&L, goes into the reserve and balance sheet, and that's how it gets.
Perfect answer. Okay, anybody else?
That's it. I think we are also on time.
Yes. All good things come to an end. So I'll just take 2-3 minutes to conclude. And as I said, Nagesh's talk was from the heart and very inspiring. And as you said, you know, changing mindsets. We'll definitely look into it. My colleagues, Unmesh and George, will look into some of you. You've got very senior trainers and you got, you know, whether a course or a session, but it's something very important, an eye-opener that when you talk of change, but the first change is changing your mindset. So that's also a very good remark from you today. And thank you so much, sir, for having consented to, you know, be here. And he has come specially for this. It's એવું નથી કે કોઈ બીજા પ્રોગ્રામમાં આવ્યા હતા અને આપણે કીધું કે પ્લીઝ સાંજે આવો. He has come specially for this program, and so that's why, and to inaugurate this and grace this center. And again, I'm thankful to both Shri Arvind Bhai and Manoj Bhai Soni, promoters of AB Jewels, for not only the generosity to contribute, but for a worthy cause on the concern for the fraternity of the trade, the employees of the retailers, and also the students for the skill upgradation, and of their owners and their employees. A big thank you to Mr. Sanjay Chakravarti is right at the back, who was a bridge between AMA, is a very old AMA resource person. And thanks, Sanjay, for, initiating, inspiring AB Jewels to set up this center. And then I thank persons from the press and media. We did a small press conference before this event, to suit their time. For their coverage. And of course, our AMA Secretariat was done a wonderful job, preparations. Our Executive Director, Unmesh Bhai, and Deputy Director, Mr. George, they are here. And friends, thank you all for attending in large numbers and gracing this occasion. It's an inaugural ceremony, so you're gracing it. And in spite of the IPL match and our 45 degrees temperature, you all came. And before we end, I'd like to present a memento to Mr. Nagesh, please. So I'll request all of you to join for refreshments downstairs. In the canteen. Somebody will guide you there. So have a wonderful weekend. And anything else, George? Thank you so much, friends. Wish you all a good evening and a great weekend. Thank you.